Hey everybody, welcome to Houdini Hangout. We are in the middle of June. Hope you're having a great week. Real quick before we get started here, I noticed that there was an issue with the Twitch stream tonight. So if you're struggling to see or hear or whatever, that's all sorts of crazy over there. It looked like it was like all jittery and weird. So if you're watching there, head over to YouTube. You can always find the information over at HoudiniHangout.com, and that should link you. I'm doing fine. How are you doing? Anyways, so minor issues, but yeah. So, here we are. Sorry, I'm a little catching myself and trying to figure out exactly what the heck's going on there. So, so I hope everybody's doing well. It's been a bit of a busy week for me. Me and my wife might be getting a dog this weekend, so that's kind of exciting. We've not had a pet before, so that's pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to that. Good week mostly here. It's pretty warm in North America, so just kind of getting ready for the heat to start really bearing down on us here. But I don't live anywhere where it gets too crazy hot, but certainly hot for us when we're used to snow and things like that. So, capybara, yeah, no, a dog. Yeah, we're gonna be getting a dog. It's funny, I feel like I'm like not centered in the screen here. Hello, everybody. Hello, Known, Luep. All these crazy names. I try my hardest to figure out how to say them in some reasonable way, but we're going to be getting a dog. Anyways, tonight, so we are going to take a look at some USD stuff tonight. Specifically, somebody had posted, let me see if I can find that real quick here. Topic suggestions. It was this here. And it was this. Let's see here. It was this video here that Jose Molfino had posted, and it's pretty cool. It's like a bunch of nested trees and leaves and all that kind of things. Lots of nesting and instancing and things like that. So we're going to take a look at maybe how we would go about doing that. And I mean, obviously not going to get into something that intense and deep, but maybe take a look at how instancing works and what some of the, what some of the issues and things that we have to do are there. But so we'll take a look at that, see what we can get into, see how we can make that work. But we'll maybe I'm not sure. I might try to make a tree. Maybe I'll look real quick on Polyhaven and see if there's any trees on there that we could use, because that would be nice. It would look probably a lot better than anything I'm going to come up with quickly tonight. But yeah, so that is what we're going to try to do tonight, and we're going to mess around with that. So as per usual, if you have any questions or thoughts, ideas of how to do things better than the way I'm doing it, or comments, things like that, please feel free to drop them in the chat. Always happy to to look at what everybody's suggesting and take any corrections or thoughts to heart and figure out how we can maybe make this thing make stuff look really cool. So so yeah, that's always my little disclaimer at the beginning. So yeah, please don't feel embarrassed to ask any questions or drop any comments in the chat. So always happy to take those into consideration. All right. Well, I guess that's about it. So why don't we jump over and start doing some actual stuff. All right. So so the first thing that we need to do, well, first thing I need to do is save this because I need to do that. So let's save it in here, make a date, and we'll call this nested USD instances. Great. So we have, oh yeah, if you want to get access to that, to any of the HIP files or anything like that from this stream, any previous streams, whatever, feel free. You can go on the Discord server. The link is at houdinihangout.com, and you can grab all of the HIP files. There's a Google Drive link there, and you can use that to download whatever you might want to download. So they're all there. All right, so let's just see if there's any like plants or anything like that in here. I don't know. There's got to be something, right? Let's see what kind of plant. Yeah, trees. Trees, yes. Hooray. Okay. I think this could work. Let's just see. Oh, that's a funky tree. Quiver tree. Interesting. All right. Kind of like that. That just looks like a pretty straightforward tree. Yeah, look at that guy. Look at that tree. What a tree. Yeah, let's do that. Why not? Cool. I think I'm just going to download the FBX version. So we'll do that. And I'm just going to save this to my drive here. Models, trees. Be funny if I had this one already. I don't know what some of these things are, but I guess I had some other trees in there too. So this one should work. It should be pretty nice. Okay. Great. Let's minimize that. Just unzip this and we'll import this in. So I think what I'm going to do first is, kind of mess with this in SOPs just to get it, organized in a way that I'm happy with. And then we can bring it over into Solaris and start messing around with it there. So let's add a geometry node here, and we'll just say geotree cleanup, I guess. We'll call it that. And dive inside of that. Let's just do a file node. Actually, you know what? We could do, there's an FBX. There's a labs FBX archive import, which I'm going to use. So let's grab that because that'll might do some nice stuff for us here. So let's do this and resources. Obviously, you'll have to, if you're going to use this file, you'll have to go download and link to your own stuff. But let's do that. All right. What do we got here? Are all these leaves? Oh, man. Okay. Hey, Zach, how's it going? Nice to have you here. Just looking at this, it does not appear that these individual leaves are their own geometry, which is kind of silly. let's see. Let's just see if I can blast these out. Okay, so they're like their own little like individual branches. Yeah, I probably don't want to do that. That's too bad. I was kind of hoping that this would be a little bit cleaner here. It doesn't look like it is, unfortunately. Okay, that's all right. Maybe what we'll do is hey, Fernando, welcome, man. My astrophotography friend. Yes, very nice. Got my telescope set up in the backyard. Haven't gotten to get any photos with it yet, but it's set up now. So, anyways, cool. Let me just look at these other models here and just see what we have. Cause that's too bad. I might just look and see if there's anybody else that did any of these, but looks like the same guy did all of them, which is a little interesting. Okay. All right. I mean, I was kind of hoping that these would have individual leaves and not like branches like this, but what are you going to do? All right. Forget that. I'm going to rename this tree creation. I think we're going to do the labs thing. So let's do the labs. I think if we just do tree. Oh, you know what? We might be able to do this. The quick basic tree. That's right. This exists. And it's going to be kind of crummy, but that's okay. It's not really the point here. So good. Those are individual leaves taxonomically speaking. Marcelo. Like, oh, hi. I like the words. I like the big words. So leaves are connected to the branches? Like, that's how that, wow. I guess I never knew that would all be considered part of the leaf, I guess. Interesting. Anyways, yeah, it's probably Bizarre Self Production said I think it's easier to get speed tree. No, it's okay. I don't know anything about botany, so I appreciate it. Yeah, Bizarre Self Production is just saying when it comes to animated workflows, they think it's easier to build the generator that suits your needs. Yeah, that's probably a good point. Also, that's really oh, look at that cute little tree. It's so tiny. All right, so let's do I don't know a 5-meter tree. That's a little short. Let's do like a I don't know 8-meter tree, something like that. Okay. Let's see here. So what? Branch resolution, resample branches. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure this out here. All right. This will have to do. I'm not really going to worry too much about it. Yeah, it's a tree. We got a tree here. We should be able to work with it. We'll just call this a tree and call it good. Maybe what I'll do is just maybe I should just like wiggle this a little bit here, add a few points to it, and just do a I don't know. Could just do like Hmm. Do a little something interesting. I don't know. Do something a little unique. There we go. Cool. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's something. It's something here, and we can just say zero centered. Great. Cool. All right. There's our tree. We'll call it good. Okay, so it looks like here we're going to have a few different groups that we can work with here. So we've got leaves, stems, trunk. Let's split those out and just see exactly what we're working with here. So let's take a look at the leaves first, maybe. Okay, cool. The other thing... Okay, so then if we did this split... Well, let's just do this. Actually, no, I'm just going to delete this. I'm just going to blast instead of splitting. And we'll just say blast leaves. Say delete non-selected. Say blast stems. I'm curious what stems are. Oh, okay. But those seem like they're also leaves. Interesting. So they're in the leaves group as well, but they're stems. Okay. So, right. And then obviously we're going to have the trunk, and that's going to be that part there. Cool. Okay, so obviously the first thing that we're going to have to do is instance those leaves onto the tree, right? That's, I think, very straightforward and logical thing that we're going to have to do. I wonder... These are all pretty different. I don't think we're going to be able to instance those because those look pretty different if I'm seeing that correctly, I think. Kind of hard to tell if those are different. I don't know. Okay. We're going to just say that those aren't going to get instanced. And just call it good. So let's do this, and we'll just blast off those stems, and then we should have all of these, this geometry here that's going to be able to be instanced. And I think there's a thing, find instances. Let's see here. If I do this, I think this will find all of the instances, I think. And so I'm guessing that these are all going to be instances. I want to say that there's a way that we can set these up to get points on them and stuff like that. So let's see here. Just letting it cook for a second here, letting it do its thing. Surprised this is maybe taking as long as it is. Maybe I should make this a little lighter. Maybe we'll do that real quick here. So let me also turn this on. looking at what exactly goes into this here. So let's just try this, maybe make it a little smaller for right now. Few less leaves and things like that. And we'll just let it maybe see what we come up with here while we're doing this. Hey, look at that. It went really quick. And it looks like, yep, we've got all the points there and all the primitives. So that's good. We're able to extract all of those instances from here. So it's seeing them. It's giving us their like basically it's outputting these as pack geometry. We can click on this. See, we've got 750 pack geometries. Interesting. 207 prototypes found. That's interesting. Let me take a look at what this is finding here. Ah, it thinks they're all the same. Okay, so let's up this a little bit here. See if that does any better. Okay, interesting. I thought this would maybe work a little easier than that. What do we have on this here? Just groups, nothing else. I wonder if we could match it by the UV attributes. Let's see. Interesting. So these are all the same geometry. I'm kind of surprised that we're running into this. All right, let's take a look here. What can we do instead of this? Yeah, I think what we could do is kind of wonder if maybe this isn't the best way of doing it then. Okay. Try another thing. Labs, trunk generator, and tree controller. It's gonna go there. Okay. So let's do a branch generator here. This might be even worse than the other one, but that's okay. I'm just going to copy this. Let's see here. We're going to turn the length of those down, I think, a little. And then can we do a leaf. Yep. All right. Let's see if this will do anything better for us here. Okay. There we go. Okay. That's good enough. That'll do it. Cool. All right, great. That's looking a little bit better. Now the question is, can we get those output nodes from here? Let's take a look. All right, let's try the same thing over here then. Do we have a name attribute here? Let's see. Let's throw that in there. Give this a shot. See how this goes. Okay, we're getting 0 outputs. Interesting, and it's doing the same thing. Okay. Interesting. Oh, I'm going to turn that off. Let's just check something here. I think we can throw a leaf geometry in here. Okay, thank you. Man, I wasn't thinking this would be so difficult. Okay, well, what we'll do instead of that is let's get rid of these here. So we've got these branches, right? And we should be able to do simple leaf. Great, that'll work. Let's do that. And we'll instance that a bunch of times onto this tree, and we can use that. So let's do a scatter and align here. We'll do it on the mesh output. And we'll do these really tiny. Too tiny. And let's look at the group here. Let's do all branches maybe. Yep. And then we'll do a copy to points. And we'll use that. Hopefully that'll work. Yep. Great. I mean, obviously too few leaves, but we're getting somewhere here. All right. Let's say it's, I don't know, 5. Sure. Let's do pack an instance here just to make this a bit more efficient. And let's do this on, not on all branches, but let's do it on, maybe on level 3. Okay, that's looking fine. Let's just see here. Do we have a normal attribute on this? I think we should. Okay, yep. So yeah, so we need to do this. Well, we could actually probably just rotate this so that it's well, it should be pointing along the z-axis. That's usually the up direction, so it's kind of interesting. But let's do this. See if that's any better. Yeah, that seems better. Okay, cool. Great. So let's do this. Let's do it by number of points. Just gonna adjust these a little bit. See what I come up with here. Maybe that's 4. And let's just do like 20,000, something like that. Fortunately, this is scaling it. There we go. Much better. We'll just scale it from here. All right. I think now we're getting somewhere. All right, so we've got all of these leaves here. We've got a tree. I mean, again, it's not the most exciting thing in the world. Obviously, you can make a better tree, but this is, you know, it is what it is. Anyways, so we've got a tree here. And so we've got all these points, and the important thing that we're going to do here is these individual points here are going to drive our instancing. So I'm going to actually add a null here because these are going to be our leaf instance points. So we'll use this in a little bit here. All right. So these are our instance points. What we can do, let's think here, for animation of this. I mean, technically, we have these, which we could use to do some sort of like a simulation type thing, but kind kind of feel like that's going to be a little bit much. I wonder if, let's see here. Let's do this. Let's do an attribute adjust vector. Sorry, just trying to think of what's going to make the most sense here. Because I could just do like a... You know, I could just do something that's like noise on this and just... obviously not that, but you know what I mean? Like a very noisy kind of thing and just kind of animate it in some way here and just obviously pin down the bottom of the tree, which I could do. We could do that. But, that's funny. Okay. That's interesting. What could we do instead? Okay. What I'm going to do is just, I'm going to do an attribute. Let's see here. Why don't we use attribute adjust float, because we can do that in the line mode here. So I'm just going to call this like fall off. And we can do this in the line mode. If I come over to the viewer here, I can just kind of adjust this a little bit. We can just kind of say that, I don't know, or actually it could even be radial. So we could do that. We could do it radially instead. So why don't we do that? We'll do it radial from the origin out to there, and then we'll have it start a little low, like it won't quite obviously move the bottom of the tree. I think we can visualize this like that. There we go. Yep. So maybe we'll do something like this, and expand this a little here as well. So maybe it's like, I don't know. Maybe it's like that. Sure. And then we could probably throw that into, we could put that value into here and use, now we could actually just do this in a, do we have that value here that we can? Okay. That doesn't have the mask attribute. So let's try that. Let's try this, and we can just rename this to mask. We'll use this mask attribute, I think here, if we do P. Yeah, that looks right. And we can just do this at 50, and it should just move. Turn the animation on. Should just give us a little wiggly thing here. We'll do it at 100. Maybe do this at, I don't know, 3 or something like that. I mean, it's ridiculous, but it'll work. It'll work. Oh, that's so silly. But there we go. We've got some animation there. So that'll anime style. Sure. Yeah, that's what I was going for. Anime style. Exactly. Okay. I want to say that if I throw this in here, kind of feel like it's going to rescatter every frame. Yes, of course it will. Of course it will. Um all right, let's just forget this and just do the scatter instead, because I'm pretty sure that won't rescatter every frame. No, it will. Okay, so then we'll just have to do the process of point deforming it. Rubber tree. Yes, it's a rubber tree. It's animated, you know. Make your own animation, guys. Come on. Doing my best here. Okay, so let's take this. We're just going to point deform these because these are, this will be our animation here of the branches. And then, okay. I'm thinking about things already in the future of how we're going to be doing these things in USD, but we'll hopefully cross those things when we get there. Okay, so these are going to be the static. This is going to be the static tree here. So let's add that. Let's add some nulls here so we know what it is we're looking at here. So we'll just say static. I don't know. We'll call it static branches. We'll call this anim branches. Static leaf instance points because we might have some animated ones too. And this is just to see what on earth this looks like. There we go. And then we can point deform these. So let's do that. Let's do a point deform. Just take our rest points, anim branches, and there we go. Great. Yep. Awesome. It's working. Cool. All right. So this is our static leaf instance points. Sorry, it's getting a little messy. This is going to be our anim. All right, and we can get rid of this up here. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your error. All right, let's do that. Okay, so the first thing I think that we're going to want to do is, well, you know, we're also going to need this leaf out. We'll just call this, and we're going to say out leaf. Hey, Fractaler, welcome, welcome. Okay, so we've got our leaf here. That's what we're going to pull from. Here's our static branches. These are going to be important. We're going to have our animated branches, our goofy rubber tree, but you know, hey, it's life here. We're doing our best. Actually, we could probably adjust this a little bit, and we could smooth this probably. Let's see here. Okay. Cool. All right. Um, so I'm just thinking of exactly what we want to do here. Okay. That seems like that should be enough to at least get started here. So let's make a LOP network. I just like working like this because I can jump back and forth a little easier. You can do this however you'd like, but I'm going to do this. And it's red for rendering. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is make our leaf asset. So let's do this. Let's just do a component builder for this. I think this is going to be really simple to do. There's no reason to really overthink this, in my opinion. We're just going to say leaf geo, leaf mat. Just call that leaf. Okay, so let's just object merge that in, even though we could have built it in here. I know dinosaurs allowed. Welcome. Oh, yeah, would also be interesting to see an example of procedural applied on render rather than pre-cached and offset per instance. Yeah, that would certainly be interesting. I don't think we have a pre-built solution that would work for something like a tree. So that's interesting. Yeah, I don't think. Oh, excuse me, yawning. I don't think the procedural, but would be a thing that I could do very easily right now. I mean, definitely not tonight. There's a lot of stuff that would go into making a custom procedural. But yes, let me that's interesting. That's an interesting one to think about. Okay, so let's just say, obviously we could have made this in here, but we'll say get leaf, and we'll just navigate to that, which is going to be over here, alt leaf. There it is, cool. We're not gonna really do much with this. I'm just making sure that we get a nice little asset out of it. Cool, let's just see here. This is really just going to be our leaf. It's just gonna have a geo. We could give it a simple material here. Let's just do this. Let's throw a quick surface material in here. We'll just say this is call this leaf mat instead. And we'll just make this, I don't know, a darkish kind of green color here, something like that. Great. We've got a leaf. Leaf material shape. Great. That looks good to me. Pretty straightforward and simple. Nothing too crazy here. So let's do this. Let's save it to disk. However, okay, yep. Hip USD assets. That looks good. Save it to disk. Great. So there's our little leaf. Obviously, you should make something much cooler than that. It's what we've got here. So, so that will be our leaf here. Anyways, okay. So that is our leaf. That's good. So that's set up. Let's grab our tree here with all of its branches and everything like that. And we will use that to we'll then take that and then instance our instance our leaves onto them. And I think what we're going to do is we're actually going to import those static instance points and have that be part of our asset, because then if we animate those, that should animate our instances. So let's try that. I think that's going to work. We'll have to check that out, but I think that should work. Okay, let's jump back over here, and so we're just gonna say super simple leaf asset. There we go. Got our super simple leaf asset. Then here, let's do a SOP import, and we'll bring in our static branches here. Bring those in. Those do have a normal on them, I believe, right? Let me just check here. Mesh. Yep. Okay, cool. I'm just making sure that has normals on it and things like that. Let's see. We're going to call this let's see here. We'll just call this okay. That's great. That's working fine. We'll say we'll merge this into a new layer. We'll say we'll just call this tree branches. Just trying to think of my naming here. Actually, we'll call this instanced tree. It's just going to start making our hierarchy here. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to configure these primitives to not have let's see, can we do this? Fix the hierarchy. This, no. All right, so we're going to do, we're just going to say no kind here. Actually, we can probably do this, right? Yeah, that should work. Okay, so basically I'm just saying any child of that. Let's just get rid of their kind. We're gonna figure those out in a little bit. So I'm just configuring those primitives there. We've got our mesh here for our tree. In fact, what we can do is we can come back over here and just clean this up a little bit by adding a name attribute here, and we could call, this is going to name our mesh when it comes in. So if we put a name on here and call this like tree branches, something like that, it should what? Infinite recursion. What happened there? What did I type? Did something stupid. Static branches. What did I do there? Let me do this. Set my quick mark. If you don't use quick marks, you can do that. Okay, why did that create an infinite recursion? That's so weird. What did I do? Maybe I could just say branches. Okay. I don't know why that, I must have done something stupid there. Anyways, so now we have this named. So we've got a named mesh here underneath our geo and our instance tree. So that's cool. And we also probably want to bring in our points into here. So let's do another SOP import. Let's throw this in here. Oops. Let's merge this in, and we can bring in our oh, sorry, I missed your comment there. The idea would probably would be animated skeleton point deforming them on render time. Yeah, yep, yeah, I agree. That would make the most sense if you were doing something like a. I mean, it's almost like a character deformation too, in a way. But yeah, I definitely would agree. It's more so the procedural, making a USD procedural or karma procedural is a little trickier than that. But that's okay. All right, so let's do static leaf instance points, and we're going to have those all there. Great. And so what we can do here is, actually, I'm going to rename these. I'm going to call this import geo. I'm going to say import points, and then I'm going to rename these just to say, call that instance tree geo. I'm just not going to name these here. I'm just going to say instance tree / geo for this one as well. Then we've got the branches and the points. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to name those points. I'm going to call them, let's actually name these up here. Give them a name. Put those on the points. Question mark. He said, unsure. Yes, I think that's where we're going to want to do this. So let's just do this here. And we'll call these instance points, something like that. Solaris. Okay, yep, there we go. So we've got our branches, we've got our instance points. What we should be able to do now, let's set our kind here. So we're just going to do instance tree. We're going to say this is our component. That should be fine. Okay, so we'll say set component. Great. Okay, so we're starting to get some of our hierarchy here. I think what we could do is we could do an instancer now. We could input the stage here. And then we're going to need our prototype source. So let's do we could do, actually just do a regular reference. We don't need to do an asset reference. So let's do a reference here. And this is going to, nope, that's fine. We don't need to make that instanceable. We'll make the instanceable reference, or the point instancer will make them instanceable. So there's no reason to need that. I don't think, well, might as well just check it on. I don't think it's going to hurt anything. Let's go here and go to our project files, and we're just going to grab that USD asset, leaf. There's our leaf USD. Cool. So we've got our leaf USD there. And what we're going to do here is, I think instead of this, we're going to say first inputs points, and let's say these instance points. Let's see what happens there. How's that working for us? Okay. So we need to set the primitive path here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it to this. Slash instance leaves. No, is it leaves? Yeah, I can spell. Okay, so we've got our leaf here. Point instancer. Let's make sure this is pointing to the right thing. We're going to say the leaf component there. Okay, let me just make sure that this is working regardless. Okay, well, obviously we're seeing the points there, so that's good. Let's just check this instead. Let's just do an external SOP real quick and use the static leaf instance points. Okay, that's working. Okay. So the way that this point instancer works is that it is using the positions here. This is like point positions that it's using to tell where each of these prototypes are going to be placed. So I'm just trying to think if I think I might be able to overlay the animation on top of that, if that will move these around. Let me try that actually, let me try that before I write this to disk. So what I should be able to try is a SOP import. And if we take this and select the animated leaf instance points, right? Now those are obviously going into some crazy location, right? This isn't exactly what we want. But we probably could take these point positions. Maybe not. Let me just try something else then. Because I was just thinking that I could do it that way, but if I do this, it's going to overwrite these instance points. That's not really what we want it to do. We want it to overwrite the instance leaves. Maybe. Hold on. Okay, what if we do this? No. No. Okay. Yeah, that doesn't seem like that's going to want to work. So we need to figure out why this isn't working. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, it is working. Hooray. So the only thing I didn't want to do was set the scale. Yeah, Bizarre self production. Yes, I think you might be waiting a little while on that one. I don't know when that's going to be a thing that I can actually figure out even how to do, because that's well above my knowledge of this setup. But anyways, okay. So that was the problem. It was actually scaling these all way down, which is fun. Anyways, okay. So we've got that there. That's great. And now what should happen is positions here. Yeah, now let's see. Let's see if we do that. Let's see if that will work. So we'll do the SOP import now. Do this. We'll load up the animated leaf instance points. What's our error here? Okay, thank you. Oh, right. I named him. Define only the leaf primitives. Okay, interesting. So those are moving. Okay. Interesting. The other thing that we could do instead is do this with an instanceable reference. This is going to be a bit angrier at me because it's going to make a lot of primitives. Let me just see what's going to happen here. Yeah, that's a lot of instances. Hmm. It's a few too many primitives, I think. What we can do is should be able to do that. Still be able to see. Yep. So those are just bounding boxes. If you unload the payloads, that would speed up your view a little bit. However, does seem a little bit troublesome here. Okay. Well, so let's take a look at this here. So we've got this so far. And what we could do is sorry, I'm just trying to think this through as I'm talking here. So, in order to kind of make this into a nice, you know, a nice component, I almost wonder if we should just use the component builder for it. Cause well, I mean, I can show kind of how to do that without it anyways, but, we're sort of using the same structure here. I'm actually probably not even gonna add materials on here, but let's just do this. Let's do a configure layer. Say start new layer here. We're gonna save path. And what this is gonna do is this is gonna save all of our stuff up to this point. And I'm just gonna call this geo. And we'll say, or actually, we'll call it save geo layer. And let's come here. We're just going to make a new folder called tree. And that should be all we need. Assets, leaf, tree. Yep, cool. Okay, and then we'll call this geo/USD. Actually, interesting. We should probably do this. USD assets tree geo/USD. Okay. So that will fire off when we are going to save that to disk. So that's cool. Just trying to think of exactly when in this order I want to add this instancer in. I'm actually going to set this back to a point instancer. Sorry, just going to hit escape there. I'm going to set this back to a point instancer because I think that's going to be better in the long run. And maybe that should be saved in our geo layer. Yeah, let's do that. Save that into the geo layer. Because this is going to be all of our geo. Okay, so let's do that. Let's just do a quick surface material here, and we'll just do this in a line. Make this like a, I don't know, brownish color. Something. And we'll do an assign material. And this actually, we want it to be under, let's put this here and put this under material. And then do /$OS. Great. So we'll call this branch material. This is going to assign it. So we'll just assign it to our branches, primitives there, material path there. Great. Okay. So we've got that. Then we can do the same thing here and just say save MTL layer. And what starts happening here when we do this, let's see, what was I going to look up here? Solaris, scene graph layers. You should see that we have a couple different layers that'll be created here. And each time we get to a new, like past one of these configure layers, that's going to save a new layer into here. So here you can see that we have our payload, which is pulling this stuff in, which is with our tree. And yeah, let's just see here. Should these... Let's actually maybe do that instead. Seems like that's going to make more sense. Yep. So we'll do those. We'll just copy those into new active layers. Great. Let's come down here. Yep. We've got multiple layers now that are all going to be kind of on top of each other here. So that looks good. Yeah. Great. looking good. So then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set up a payload here because we can actually do this. Da, da, da. Yes, sorry. Just thinking about this one. This is the trickiest part because we want to payload this. Okay. Right. So we don't want to put it into here. We want to put it into there. Yep. So that payload is inside of there now, and we have that lofted as well. But if we were to load this, it should load. Okay. Yep. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to change this to be /instanced tree. There we go. That's really strange. It's giving me an error with this, but don't know why. Okay. Did I miss something here? Sorry. That's right. That's okay. This is saving this layer. Okay. All right. Let's just see what happens here. USD ROP. And this is going to write out, we'll call this instanced tree. There we go. And this we're going to use hip, USD assets, tree, and we'll say instanced tree. And this oh yeah, I think we need to call this same thing. We need to set this up to be hip. Sorry. Where am I? I'm missing something here. Sorry. Forgetting something. Let's do something here. Let's allow editing of contents. Go inside of here. I just want to see what they're doing here with our Okay. Sorry, just trying to remember exactly what I'm missing here. Oh, yeah. Right. Okay. That's what I'm forgetting here. So what I need to do is actually do another thing here. We're going to make a new configure layer. Usually you do more than just this stuff. I'm doing like literally nothing right now. So let's do this. We'll do hip tree, call this payload.usd. And that is what comes into here. And that's where the payload happens. So that's our payloading. We're going to start a new layer there. I think that's right. Sorry. Just double checking myself here. Oh, okay. We don't start a new layer there. Got it. Okay. So we don't start a new layer there. That's fine. Payload that in. Great. And then we loft it. So I think the reason that we're not wanting to start a new layer there is because this, I think, is part of that same layer here. And so we want to save that out. So actually, sorry, because yeah. Anyways, so we're saving that payload there. That's going to make sure that we have these layers set up. And if we look here, we should have our payload layer set up there, which then loads all of our other stuff, which is great. Cool. All right, so we're basically loading all this stuff in. Instance tree. Let's save that to disk and see what happens here. Where is there we go. Yep, looks good. Geo's the biggest one, which makes sense. Instance tree, material, payload, great. So what we should be able to do then is we should be able to take this. I'm going to highlight this and say tree. Okay, so there's our tree with instanced leaves. Then let's do a reference here. Let's pull in our tree, which... Wait a second. I looked at the wrong one. Why did we not get our main tree here? Oh, so I didn't save it as instancetree.usd. There we go. That should do it. And if we take that, that should load the exact same thing. And if we go back to our scene graph tree and load these in, should have that all taken care of there. Great. And so we could do this, and we could do another instancer here. And let's wire this in like so. And I will just do a grid, maybe 100 by 100. We'll just scatter a bunch of points onto it. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do the scatter and align because then I can kind of randomize them. Let's do that. And let's see what happens here. Okay, so we have a lot of them. Too many here. Let's do attribute delete. Just get rid of that P scale on there. Oh, actually, you know what? I can change that on the instancer. Okay. Cool. Nice spam, dude. Sorry, let me go to my Twitch stream and sorry guys, give me a second here. I'm just gonna try to interesting. Don't actually see that spam there. That's odd. It was on Twitch, but I don't see it on Twitch. Oh man, tonight is a tech night. It's really working great. Everything's going great. Okay, so we should be able to do this, and this is going to freak out because it's going to be really heavy and really crazy. There's going to be a lot of trees in here, and it's going to be really mad at me probably now. But that's because we're looking at a ton of these trees and instances and stuff like that, and it doesn't want to do that. That's not what. It's a lot of stuff for it to be drawing and figuring out and all that kind of stuff. So that's why unloading these payloads in the viewport, it's really nice. Now, the weird thing about this is if we change it to Karma CP, we won't see anything because we're not loading them in the viewport. But if we do USD render ROP here, we should be able to render this to mplay. Oh, right. I didn't put any. I'm dumb. Didn't put any karma settings in. So that's what you want to do and actually do karma. That should be fine. Don't think we need to worry too much about that. Let's just render that to mplay. I think that should work. Or is it going to be mad at me because I don't have a camera? Yep, it's going to be mad at me for a number of reasons. Let's do a karma physical sky. There we go. And let's throw a camera into here. Camera, we'll lock it down. There we go. Great. That needs to be up here so that won't be angry. And then we do this. Now we hope we get something a little more reasonable. Obviously, we're just kind of doing this all on the fly, so this isn't like the cleanest setup in the world or anything, but let's see what happens here. And there you go. We've got lots and lots of instance trees with lots of instance leaves all across our scene. Now, obviously, this isn't going to be as convenient as working, say, in the viewport and tumbling around in your scene and stuff like that. Yes, Sprawa, hello. There's a major issue with Twitch tonight. I tried to announce that at the beginning, but yes, I don't know what it is. I'm gonna have to figure that out, but not at the moment. I tried before the stream started and it was a mess. So sorry about that. Hopefully you can, hopefully you're on YouTube, which it looks like you are. During the day, I use a Yeti microphone for my laptop, and I just tried to mute, my my regular microphone here that has no buttons on it, and I just tried to reach onto it and mute it because the Yeti microphone has a mute button on it. My mute button's over here. I forgot. Anyways, okay, so this is working, and you can see obviously that took like no time at all. Obviously, you're gonna have a lot of memory, but it took like no time at all to render that in CPU. Now the quality is, doesn't look good at all. There's nothing here really, but you know, we have some stuff. We could throw a grid down in here and get some shadows and things like that. Let's see, what if we do that? Maybe 200? Sure. Now, obviously, this, like I said, this isn't going to be the most interactive way to be able to work, just because, you know, we're going to need to, you know, render it to disk and stuff like that. But you can see how you can do huge scenes worth of stuff. You know, pretty straightforward here. So, yeah, nothing. It's all working. All the trees are kind of randomized and rotated and stuff like that. I mean, this is just one tree, so kind of cool. Getting a nice variation even just with one tree. So that's kind of nice. But yeah, that is, so that's just it. That's just with it static right now. What if we wanted to animate it? So that is kind of the other question here. So let's look here. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool too. I mean, that hopefully that shows like the power of USD in that regard, because as long as we keep this payload unloaded, and you can actually save this. I think that's unload payloads. Is that what we want to call it? Oh no. Yes, this is, you could have that up there. You can also create a configure stage node from load masks, and we could do that. So if you came down here, so we could keep these loaded like that, I think. And then if we did this, yep, there we go. So this configure stage is going to unload all of our primitives, and we could obviously, you know, we could control that as well. We wouldn't have to unload all the primitives in the scene. You can set up paths and things like that for which things you want to load. Now, obviously, we only have our trees in there, so not really super helpful for us. But and you can see right here we have this icon, which I believe if we look in here, that's lop node with unloaded payloads. So you can see that the payloads are unloaded. So if we were to do our Karma CPU here, obviously we're not going to get any of those payloads loaded. I believe if we did, let's see, if we did this, would they load? Yeah, there you go. So the funny thing is they're actually going to render a lot faster. They're going to render a lot faster in Karma, and you're going to be able to tumble around them a lot quicker than you can render them in the OpenGL viewport. So if we go to the Vulkan viewport. So if you go to Vulkan, it's super slow because it's trying to draw all these polygons and stuff like that. It's crazy slow. But no, let me watch. I crashed my computer. But the Karma viewport is actually pretty quick. So you could, you could set up some view masks here that would load and unload them if you wanted to. It's like you could, whatever, you could have it saved or however you want to do it. But obviously this would work like this. And then if you throw yourself into the CPU and then turn this back on, you'd be able to do that. And then you could turn this off and go back to VK. So it's kind of a couple steps, but I mean, there's no slowdown here at all because we're just drawing bounding boxes. So yeah, some things to kind of consider there. Okay, so that is going. Let's see here. The thing that let's turn this back on and turn this on here as well. So the thing that I am kind of curious about is can we do this? Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come over here and, I'm going to go back to 1 actually. And I am going to attribute delete everything here. We're going to delete non-selected. We're going to literally delete every attribute off of these. I want them to be completely clean because all I want is the point positions. So I don't want there to be anything else weird happening here. So let's go back over to Solaris and see if we can't SOP import that. Animated leaf instance points. Yep, that's what we want. And the import path. Actually, probably what we want to do is, well, let's see if we can get this to animate first. And then what I would probably do is write this to a USD and then layer that on top. I think that would make more sense. Okay, so we want to only define the leaf primitives, I think, because really we don't want to be writing anything else. We just want to write this leaf, or leaf, the kind of lowest point of the hierarchy. That's what it means when we say leaf primitives. Obviously, we're dealing with a tree, so there's actually leaves. So let's just say here we do instanced tree, geo, instanced leaves. Mm-hmm. Okay, hold on. This might be what we want. Okay, so let's try this. So right now this is only overlaying. Yes, okay. So this is, I think, actually what we want. So right now, in this mode, in define, we're defining this points 0. In the overlay mode, all we are doing is we are setting, I'm also going to turn off set missing width, so we don't want to do that. The only thing we're writing basically is this extent and points. That's literally the only two things that we're writing. And so if this points 0 was named instance leaves, that would actually work. So let's try this. Let's try this back to this. And we'll we'll go back to here. The name of that is instance points. I'm going to put another name down here like we did before, because this time I actually think it might work. Instanced leaves, like that. Put that onto the points. Let's go back to 2 here. Oh, interesting. It's not points, it's positions. So these are 2 different things. So we want it to be positions. Okay. Okay. So that's actually shouldn't be too hard if we can do that. Because so what we're seeing there, sorry, let me just explain this a little bit here. What at least I'm thinking. So what I'm seeing is that this is creating an attribute called positions. There's a points and a positions. And the points attribute is what we're writing over here. But really, we want to be writing over this positions. So let's see if we can't do that. Yeah, let's see if we can do that. So we'll go back over here and we will attribute copy, I want to say. No, sorry. Attribute swap is an easy way of doing this. So we can say point attribute, we're going to go from position and call it positions. I think it was plural. Yes, I think it was plural. And there we go. We can just say copy, that's fine. Let's see if this works. Shoot. Um, this might work as well. Let's try this actually. I wasn't even thinking of this. So modify point instances. I believe, just say internal SOP here. And I think what we want to do is do a star here. Oops. Yeah, there we go. Just say external SOP. Okay, let's see. Have any changes here in positions? Nope. Okay, let's try this. Let's see if we do this. Put some IDs on those. Let's see if we clean that up a little. Okay. Let's do enumerate on this. And we'll do ID. That should give us IDs on the points, like so. And let's try and let's do one more naming here. Actually, let's throw this down here. Just turn that off for right now. This is going to be the path. And we'll do that. Pretty sure that's what it was. Okay. Well, I thought this was going to be the part that wouldn't be all that difficult, but apparently it is it's ending up being a little bit more difficult than I expected. All right. Well, we've gotten to the point where we have our tree with our leaves, with all that stuff instanceable and able to be unloaded and all that kind of stuff in the viewport, able to be rendered. So we've got the quality and the speed there. Now the question really is to get the animation onto it. And I might have to do a little bit of research on that. I thought that I knew how that would work, but I've kind of hit a dead end there. But hey, sometimes you don't know how these things work, and yeah, that's what we're here to try to figure out and play around with and learn things together, hopefully. And so yeah, this isn't quite what I was hoping that we'd be able to get to. I was thinking we'd be able to animate this and get it moving and stuff like that, but I think it's a good first step. And I'll do some research maybe over the weekend, see if I can figure out something with that. And yeah, we'll take a look at it and see what we can do as far as the animation side of it goes. But I think for tonight, since we're getting close to a couple hours here, and I'm kind of hitting a wall mentally, and I'm just not exactly sure even what to go about doing next. So I think we'll probably call the stream there and just start to wrap things up for the evening, and then we can come back maybe next week and see if we can, button this up and get some animation on that. But hopefully you found it interesting to at least see how the payloading works and how you can unload things in the viewport. Obviously have a ton of instancing with pretty high speed in the viewport. Well, actually in the render, and then you can also do it in the viewport with a little bit of trickery. But yeah, I think that's where we're going to end it for this evening. So like I said, we'll pick this up maybe next week and see what we can get into. But I will say thanks all for joining for the evening, and hopefully we'll be able to get back to this next week and see if we can get some animation on it. So I think that, like I said, that's going to be it, and we will talk to you guys next week. So have a good one, and we'll talk soon. So yeah, you're very welcome, Marcelo. If you're new to Houdini and following along with this, then hey, that's hats off to you. Wow, I've been dropping frames this entire time, so that's really exciting. So yeah, anyways, thanks everybody for watching. I've got some technical stuff to track down on my side. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next week. Have a good one, everybody. Talk to you later.